let's go ahead and start checking at the Mint menu here. It's just called Menu. Usually I just call it the Mint menu or the main menu or something like that. You just click this Linux Mint button over here, and it pops up right in the corner there. Also, if you have a Windows key on your keyboard and you're used to pressing the Windows key to pull up the Windows Start menu, you can press the Windows key in Linux Mint, and it will pull up the Linux Mint menu, main menu, Mint menu, whatever you want to call it. So the functionality there is very similar if you are used to doing that. It works the same way in Mint as well. So let's just go over here. I don't think I'll go through like every single thing, but just like a rundown just in general for how the menu here works. So I briefly touched on it in the other in a previous video, but right here where you can see where it says all applications up at the top, that's where everything lives. So everything that you've installed through the software manager or the Synaptic Package Manager, which we haven't talked about yet, but everything that you install in those ways, if it's software to be run on your Linux Mint computer, basically, it's going to be in this All Applications section here. So it's a big long list, and you can scroll down through it quickly here just to give you an idea. There's a whole bunch of stuff in here, but it pretty much covers everything that's installed in those normal ways. Now, there are other ways to install software besides that to Linux more directly, especially if you are going online and on a particular software's website and getting a version of it from there. But and some of those may not show up in this start menu here, or the Linux Mint menu. But generally, outside of those cases, everything else should be found in here in the All Applications. And so what the rest of these are in this middle column here, what the rest of these things are is basically categories to put everything into. And you can see as I go through them, some of them are not very, not very filled with a lot of items, but it kind of tries to organize them for you. So if you're looking for, something to do with graphics, so images essentially, it's got a couple here. Pix is installed by default. It says view and organize your images. The drawing app that's installed by default, it's a simple drawing utility, and then a document scanner if you're trying to make a digital copy of your photos and documents. So if you have a scanner that you want to use, this is the program to do that with on Linux. And so it tries to group them in the categories to make it a little bit more helpful and intuitive. So if you want sound and video related stuff, well, here's all your media players and your recording software for videos and things like that. It kind of puts them all together. But again, all these are is just like groups, categories. It tries to do it in a sensible way. And but all of these separate categories, it's not like separate additional software that you didn't have in this list. Everything is all in the All Applications list. Like if I scroll down here to the letter P, for example, there's Pix that we saw earlier, and if I scroll back up to D somewhere, there's the drawing app that was there. So it's all in this All Applications list. You can also see up at the top here, there is a search bar, and you can just type in there. So if I just type in VLC, for example, then right away it says, oh, did you want VLC media player? Well, because there it is. And so you can search individually that way if you don't remember where exactly the software is on the list here. Like, maybe you thought it was in graphics, and instead it was actually supposed to be in accessories or something like that. Because sometimes certain softwares can be placed in categories by default that maybe is not exactly where you would have expected it. And so it can be easy to forget which one they were in for certain ones. Most of the time it's pretty intuitive though. And then here, again, if you wanted to clear out your search, you can just click right here, this little pencil icon with the X on it, and it will clear that out, and it takes you back to the sides here, to the normal view. So you can actually go through all these, and I'm obviously not going to be able to cover every single piece of software in the whole system, but But so that's how this middle and right section generally work. Off to the left here, these are very commonly used software or applications. Generally the same thing. The term software and applications just kind of I use them interchangeably. They generally mean it's all pointing about software. It's all talking about software. So software you're using on your computer just takes different names. It's more common to call them apps or applications, whatever, but it's all the same thing really. Stuff to run on your computer basically. But off to the left here, this is the favorites list. So by default, it has a lot of very frequently used things. So Firefox is right at the top here. That's your web browser, which we'll discuss that in a future video in more detail. But and then below that, there's the software manager, which we talked about previously. A link right to the system settings as well. And below that is the terminal. This is what you use for command lines and running stuff manually in Linux, and I'll probably cover that eventually. It's down the road somewhere. It's a little more complex for most people, and I'm not even the best at it, to be honest. So, but that's how you access that if you need to. A lot of times it'll be related to manual installation of software, or troubleshooting with your computer. Someone on the forums will say, hey, just run this command in the terminal, and so that's what they're talking about. And then here is files. So it's a quick link to your home folder up there that you can see on the desktop as well. It's right over here. But it's all just very accessible on the left side here. But you can change what's over here. So say you don't like the fact that Firefox is on there. It's like, oh, I don't want that on there. So what you can just do is go over here to this middle section, and Firefox is your web browser, so it's in the internet section here, or you can find it in the all applications again if you forget which part it's in. And if you actually right click on the entry here, you'll see this little list pop out, and one of the options is remove from favorites, because it's already over there on the favorites. So I'll go ahead and hit that just to show you what it looks like. You can just go ahead and do that, remove from favorites, and then that will close the menu. When you open it back up, now you can see that the Firefox icon is gone from this left side here. If you want to put it back on there, all you got to do is right click on it again, do add to favorites. It will close the menu, and then you can see now it's at the bottom down here. If you want to put it back at the top, all you have to do is hold the mouse button down, drag this up to the top, let go, and it rearranges it however you prefer. So it's pretty customizable. If you want, you could unfavorite all this stuff if you don't want any of these on the side, and maybe you want totally different software, like, oh, I want Pix on there, let me add to favorites, and there's Pix right over there on the side. So you can customize it to your liking. Make it more what you're looking for your system, and it is fairly flexible. And so the other things down here are just like system related functions. So we have lock screen, so if you want to just lock your computer screen. You have log out if you want to log out of your user in case you want to log in with a different username, or whatever else. And then, as we discussed before, there's the quit option to shut down or restart your system at the bottom here, however you prefer. So, if you enjoyed this video and you want to learn even more, you can find my books at bookstoread.com/Jonathan. That's books, the number 2, read.com/JONATHAN.